Long ago, in a quiet land bordered by forests and rolling hills, there lived a gentle girl whose life changed the day her mother fell gravely ill. Before dying, her mother called her daughter to her bedside, held her hand softly, and said that if she remained kind, patient, and faithful, goodness would always find her. After her mother's burial beneath a hazel tree near their home, the girl returned there often, crying and praying, until her tears watered the soil and her love took root in her heart. Not long after, her father remarried a proud and cold woman who brought with her 2 daughters. Though dressed finely and trained in manners, the stepmother and her daughters had cruel hearts. At first they pretended kindness, but once the wedding ended, their true nature revealed itself. They took the girl's fine clothes, gave her old rags, and forced her to sleep near the hearth in ashes and dust. From morning till night she worked endlessly, cleaning, cooking, fetching water, mending clothes, until her hands grew rough and her spirit tired. Because she was always covered in ash, they mockingly called her Cinderella. Despite the cruelties, Cinderella remained gentle. Each day she visited her mother's grave and watered the hazel tree with her tears. Over time, the tree grew strong, and white birds often perched upon its branches. Whenever Cinderella wished from her heart, the birds seemed to listen, and comfort found her in their presence. One day, the king announced a grand festival to be held over 3 nights so that his son might choose a bride. Excitement filled the household. The stepsisters demanded gowns, jewels, and hairstyles, ordering Cinderella to work harder than ever. When she timidly asked if she might attend the festival too, her stepmother laughed cruelly and poured lentils into the ashes, telling her she could go only if she picked every grain out within 2 hours. Cinderella knelt down and wept, but the birds flew down and helped her complete the task swiftly. Still, her stepmother refused, setting another impossible task, then a third, each time breaking her promise. That evening, as her stepsisters departed for the palace in splendor, Cinderella ran to her mother's tree and cried out her sorrow. As if awakened by her voice, the birds fluttered, and from the branches fell a gown woven of silver and gold along with shoes of pure gold. Cinderella dressed quickly, radiant beyond words, and hurried to the palace. When she entered the ballroom, all eyes turned to her. No one recognized the girl beneath the ash, and even the prince, who had grown weary of shallow smiles, felt his heart stir. He danced only with her, ignoring all others, and the stepsisters, burning with jealousy, failed to recognize their own servant. Night fell. Cinderella slipped away silently, leaving the prince searching the palace in vain. The next evening, she returned more beautiful than before, and again captured the prince's attention. Once more she vanished before he could learn her name. On the 3rd night, the prince ordered the palace steps coated with pitch. As Cinderella fled, one of her golden shoes stuck fast, left behind as she disappeared into the darkness. Holding the shoe like a sacred promise, the prince vowed to marry only the woman whose foot fitted. He traveled throughout the land, visiting every household. When he arrived at Cinderella's home, the stepsisters eagerly tried on the shoe. The first cut off her toe to make it fit, but as she walked away, the birds cried out, warning the prince of blood in the shoe. The second sister cut her heel, but again the birds revealed the lie. At last the prince asked if there were no other daughters. Reluctantly, the stepmother mentioned Cinderella. Though dressed in rags, she was summoned. Cinderella knelt and slipped her foot into the shoe, and it fit perfectly. She then produced the matching shoe from her pocket. At that moment, the birds flew down and perched upon her shoulders, and the truth could no longer be denied. The prince recognized her instantly and took her away as his bride. At their wedding, the birds punished the wicked sisters for their cruelty, blinding them as justice for their envy. Cinderella, however, held no bitterness in her heart. She ruled with kindness, remembering her mother's words that goodness, though tested, always finds its reward. And so, through patience, humility, and unwavering kindness, Cinderella rose from ashes to royalty, proving that true beauty is born not from silk or gold, but from a pure and faithful heart.